my fellow creators, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to day 5 of my Spellbinders June 2026 All Clubs Crate series. Today our focus is going to be the stamp and die of the month. So this month it is this Way to Rainbows stamp and die set, and so you have all these sentiments plus the dies to cut out the sentiments and dies to make this little sign. Look at it. Oh, I love it. So you can make your little sign, and some of these sentiments fit these cutout pieces. So you have that arrow, like an oval, I guess, a more rectangle one, and a fish shape. And a lot of these sentiments, my friends, will fit on there. So let me kind of show you. So, for example, beach, relax, sunset, luau, sunshine, all these single word ones. You could even, and I thought about doing this, but I didn't do it this time, do some stamp surgery, cut this here in half, and then on one of the little signs, put hope you find your, and then I was thinking on the next sign, put cocktails. Hope you find your cocktails. So something like that. But you know, make it work for what you want to make. Alrighty, friends. So I did cut out all my pieces ahead of time, and I'm also going to use the bonus die that came with the All Clubs crate. It's this Penguin in Paradise. I couldn't help but to use it. And then I decided to make another shaker card, friends. So I have all my goodies here ready to go. What I did, I'm going to show you. I brought in this small die of the month from August of 2025. It's the Deep Blue 2. So it has like these tiny little fish and sea plants and these scuba divers. So I brought this in and die cut a bunch of little fish. Then to get this shape, now this is some of that Altenew alcohol ink background from that pattern paper pad I've been using. And I recently received, I ordered this nesting die set. This is mirrored arched labels. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna cut this out. And I thought at first I would cut this and make that, you know, just my background panel and place it on a 5x7 card. But then friends, I thought, why don't I make it a shaped card? So I have my A2 card base here that I cut with that die. So then I'll place this on here and it'll be this shape. Now, I also used this new set I got, well, new to me. It's called Torn Paper Edges. And I used one of the torn paper edges to make like my little sand, because if you look at this, doesn't this kind of look like it could be a fish tank, right? So I'll add that. I have my outline of my little fish bowl, not fish tank, fish bowl, and we'll make that a shaker. What do you think? I think that's what the plan is. Well, I know that's what the plan is. I'm also going to use some of these white foam adhesive strips from Spellbinders, and I'll be sure to link to everything that's still available in the description box, my friends. So let's kind of put things together here. I did go ahead and kind of halfway assembled how I want my little plants here, because I did cut 2 layers of this fawn cardstock and kind of layered them there. I did cut them with that same arched labels die, so that it had the same curve of the background. And that way when I fit it in there, it'll work perfectly. Here's a bunch of the tiny little fish I cut, and I assembled those off camera because they're tiny little fish, and you know, I don't think you want to see my hands fumbling with the tininess. But look, isn't that cute? All those little fish will be in the background, but it's still going to be a shaker. So let's put together the rest of my goodies and then we can assemble our shaker card. So let me see, let me get all my bits and pieces out here. Oh, and here's my acetate piece that I did cut with that same die. So let me grab all my goodies, including my glue press, and kind of put everything together. So let me set my little fish aside here. I can't believe we're already on day 5, friends. It just goes by so quickly. And I'm still unsure about if I'm going to do this in July. So I'm going to talk to my husband about it, see what his thoughts are. So now most of these pieces I did use color wheel cardstock. The only pieces that I did not were that frame, so it's a holographic paper. Anything I use the pattern paper for, like the background and the little coral. And oh, the penguin, I use this like embossed or textured cardstock from the 12 by 12 cardstock shop. So I'll link to them as well. But let me put my little penguin together. I thought he was so cute. And you're going to see what I'm going to do with my little penguin. Too much glue, too much glue. You know, I constantly tap that on my hand, but then I'm having to peel off glue off my hand all the time. So I'm going to try. I have to search for my little silicone mat I have, because I saw Sarah Liz from Sassy's LLC. That's what she uses. And I know I have a silicone mat here somewhere. I just have to dig it up. Okay, so there's that part of my penguin. And then his little hula skirt is over here. But in any case, July, I'm not sure. I really want to, because I know typically July, at least last year, what Spellbinders did was kind of a Christmas in July type theme. So I'm hoping that's what they'll do again this year. And if they don't, that's okay. I mean, I think all the things they make are so cute. How do they have this on like this? Let me check out my die. Yes. So a lot of times I'll have like the packaging just for reference, or that guide that I tell you you can print off the website. Just haven't done it for these. I still have to do that. I have to finish my packaging and add the those printables that are on the website. Okay. Sorry guys, it's early again, and you know, words are hard when it's real early. What else did I need for this little friend? I think I needed the cheeks and the nose, and I know I cut them out. I know I did. But where are they? Oh my goodness, what did I do with them? If I can't find them, I'll just cut new ones, and that wouldn't be a first for me. I'm constantly losing the tiny pieces. Even though I keep them in a little tray, I'm always losing. Make sure it didn't fall in here. All right, I didn't find them, so I recut them, which is okay. There were tiny pieces, so I was able to use my tiniest little scraps to get that done. So let's add those tiny pieces to our penguin. Loving this. Again, trying to do this early in the morning before my grandson gets here. Because even though, I mean, I technically can be here in my craft room without a problem, because he's 9. He's basically keeps himself entertained. But I know he likes to have me in the same room with him. So I try and do that. And then today we're going to run some errands together. So, okay, now our little nose. Wait, let me look at the embossing there from our die cut piece. So do you guys have a favorite club so far? I know the all clubs crate sold out, but you can still get the individual crates. I mean, individual clubs, not crates, the individual clubs. Hopefully, someone did ask me if Spellbinders would sell like the exclusive die and the bonus die. I'm really not sure. I know in the past for bonus items, they would make them available as a separate purchase if there were extras. I don't know if they're still doing that, and even if they were, given that it sold out, I don't think there are extras. Okay, so now for my little signs, I did cut out of two different colors. So I stamped on the lighter color, and then the darker shade will be like the background behind it, or kind of layered behind it for my signs. So this one says rainbows. This lavender says paradise. And I keep thinking back to I should have done the way I wanted to, where it says, I hope you find your cocktails. I think I'll make one like that to send to my friend for her birthday. Her birthday's in July, so not that she drinks, neither of us really drinks, but I think that's why it would be funny. Okay, and then this one. Okay, so my signs are put together. I have some more of that coral I die cut here, and again, I used the alcohol ink papers for the corals. I don't know that I'm going to use these. I think I'm going to stick with, maybe. Where are my tweezers? Let me just put these layers together just in case I decide to use it. Because you never know. Always changing my mind on what I'm going to do. Although I'm not changing my mind on making this a shaker, that is what I'm going to do. And then I decided, friends, for my shaker bits, I'll show you what I'm going to use. Because I just kept thinking, what should I use for the shaker bits, since I'm going to add those little fish in the background. And I figured something out. Okay, there's that. Oh, the penguin needs his arms. So this one is going to go there. Right about here. Shift it over just a bit. And then, out of some paper that I had been playing with watercolor or mica powders, I cut this fish, the sign, because you'll notice I didn't use the fish sign here, but I thought, wouldn't it be cute if our little penguin is holding up a giant fish he caught, right? So let's see if I can get his arm to kind of hold this up there. What do you think? I think that'll work. Or maybe, yeah, that'll work. So let me add our little fish on our penguin there. Or our big fish for the penguin. And then his other arm, holding it. He's so proud of his penguin catch, of his fish catch, I mean. Okay. Although his arm looks off too far. There we go. That's a little better. Look how cute. He's holding his big fish. Okay, then we can put together our sign, but I want to make sure it's not too tall. So I'm going to kind of gauge it here and trim off the bottom. So I'm just going to snip off a little piece of that signpost. Oh, and then I did want to add a little bit of shading to the sand here. I'm just grabbing my blending brush and see if there's enough ink left on there. I might have to add some. So let me grab a little bit here and add it. There we go. that should work. And I'm not going to add any to the sand on the inside, because if you watched my other video, yeah, I think it was yesterday's, you'll see I wasn't thrilled with the way that turned out. Wipe that down real quick. And then, let's see. Oh, I need to make sure this stays put between my layers of sand. Okay. Now let's see. That one I attached to the back. This one I haven't attached yet. This one either. And then maybe I will use, where's that blue coral? I know I just put it together. Here it is. Right there. Yeah. I guess I could use the purple one over here. Okay, so now this is going to stay behind the acetate portion, so the shaker portion. So I am going to attach it to my panel. I want to make sure this gets glued down so my shaker bits don't get caught behind all of this. Okay. Oh, isn't that cute? Okay, let's put our sign together next. I know I said I was going to do that earlier, but it's going to be so cute. Let me get this attached. Yeah, that should work well. So our little signs on our post are going to be close together, but I think that's okay. Sometimes that's just how it is. Let's see. So I can do rainbows, cocktails, and paradise. And that would go. I'm going to block some of the coral. Oh, I should have paid attention to that. That's fine. I'll leave it. I'll leave it be. Okay. In fact, if I scoop this over, you can just trim off that edge. Do paradise. Right, that should work. But this I'm going to put on top of the shaker portion, those two. So I'm not going to get those on yet. But my little fishies, those, my friends, I am going to glue directly here. And I just cut a bunch of them using tiny scraps of color wheel cardstock from my stash. Let me do one thing though. Okay, I don't want to hide the fish too much, so kind of try and figure out where I'm going to place them. See? Okay, let me get all my fish placed and I'll be right back. let's get our shaker portion put together now that I have those fish all attached. So I added some double-sided adhesive to the back of my frame here. And that's what I'm going to use to hold the acetate down. Okay, there, I think I have it aligned well enough. Now let me grab my little foam strips here. And these, I think, at least the edge strips are okay with width for fitting here on my shaker portion. Here's what I'm going to do, friends. I'm going to attach it, so I'm going to use the release paper here, but I'm not going to take the release paper off the top portion. That'll give me just enough space to add my shaker bits. I'll show you what I'm using. Alrighty, so see, I've attached it, but I left this release paper on there so I can add my bits. Now, for my bits, friends, I have a bunch of these diamond dots, so I thought I can use those. So I made my own little mix of the different shades of blue diamond dots I have. Oh, look at that. Oh, I forgot to add something. Goodness. I was going to add some of these clear enamel dots to look kind of like bubbles. Can I still do it? Let's see. Oh, I think I can. Although all my shaker bits are going to fly everywhere. Let's try. Let's try just randomly adding some of these clear enamel dots. And I don't know where they're from. They were in my stash and I didn't have them in packaging, so. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm afraid if I mess with this foam adhesive too much, I'll mess it up. So let me add a little bit more of my little diamond dot mixture. And doesn't that sound just perfect? The shakiness. Okay. A few escaped. That's okay. I'll put them back in my little plastic container. And let me see one more time. Do I like the way? I think it may be too many now because they'll cover up the complete bottom of my fish bowl. So I'll take some out. That'll work. Clean up my mess. I can use this mix for another shaker card. So the shaker part is done. If I can get my release paper off there. Just make sure nothing is slipping out of any of my corners. Making sure it's well sealed around all my edges. I think it is. Oh, I'm loving that. Okay. Then let's add this to our card base, making sure it is the right direction. Perfect. I'm using liquid glue because I want that wiggle room to make sure I have it aligned just right. because it will align at the bottom, but there'll be a little of overhang at the top. See? But that kind of covers up where I die cut on the fold of my card. Get that attached. Remove that glue. Look at that. What do you think? So cute. Okay. Now let's add our little penguin and our sign, because in my imagination, the penguin grabbed this fish from that fish bowl, and he's very proud of himself for doing that. So let me get him attached. Right. I think I'm going to use dry adhesive for this one. So let me grab some of my double-sided adhesive, because I'm adhering to this holographic paper as well as the acetate. So dry adhesive tends to stick better, I think. Oh, I'm so excited. So I cut everything out for this yesterday, and I wanted to just get up and start recording this morning. I was so excited. I almost stayed up late to record yesterday, but I didn't. I behaved myself and I stayed. Let's see. I stayed in bed instead of getting up. See, he's kind of at an upward tilt there. So proud of himself. And then our sign, I'm going to have it go right about there. And will that be okay? Cocktails, rainbows, paradise. I think that'll work. So let me get some dry adhesive back there as well. I'm so excited how this is turning out. My daughter was telling me with the cards I made on day one that I should make more, because she goes to this it's a Polynesian dance kind of class, and so she was like, Mom, make a bunch of those and I bet they'll buy them at my class. So I think I'm going to make more of those, and that was using the stencil of the month, which means they're super quick and easy to make, and that way she can take them and she can sell them, and I'll let her just use that money to pay for her class. Okay. Right about there, and I'll trim a little piece of sand off the edge. And then I can get my signs on here. So excited. All right. 1, 2, 3. Once I get the signs on here, we'll be done for today's card. So don't forget to stick around. Tomorrow will be day 6. Can you believe that? Day 6. And that's just one day closer to our giveaway. Okay, so we're going to start with the pink arrow that says cocktails. So cocktails will go here. Rainbows is next, and then paradise. And really, they could go in any order. It doesn't really matter. And paradise. Alrighty, friends, what do you think? Ah, I love the way it turned out. And it's a shaker. So cute. I love our little fish in the background and how proud our little penguin is of catching the biggest fish in the fish bowl. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end. I'd be thrilled if you subscribed to my YouTube channel or followed me on any of my other social media platforms. As always, have a beautiful, safe, and creative day. Thanks for watching. Bye.